How's it going, guys, and welcome back. In this video, we're going to be checking out how we can get the legendary weapons Sword of Darkness and the Sword of Light in Elden Ring's DLC. The first thing we're going to need is to get the Stone Sheathed Sword. This specific weapon can be found in the Fog Rift Catacombs. In case you've never been to these catacombs, to get there you simply want to go to the castle front side of Grace and then head north through the valley and you should find yourself inside the Fog Rift Catacombs. Now, while in the gameplay we are heading from the entrance of this dungeon until the secret hidden altar where we need to go, I'm going to explain a couple of things about these legendary weapons. The first thing is that there are going to be 3 hidden altars hidden around the DLC. The first of which is going to be found in this dungeon we're heading to right now. And the Stone Sheathed Sword will always be at whichever of the altars we decided to go to first. So we're going to this one simply because it's the one closest to the start of the DLC first. Then when we visit the remaining 2 altars, whichever ones we didn't go to first, those are the ones that we use to transform this sword into the Sword of Darkness and the Sword of Light. So you can't have both the Sword of Darkness and the Sword of Light at the same time, however you can switch between them as often as you like, depending on which sword you want at that specific moment. Now hopefully that made sense. If not, don't worry, it definitely will as we advance in the video. So now we're approaching the key room here in this dungeon. Once we get to the end where this balcony is, we're going to wait for the spike roof to come down and then jump in this small little alcove it has halfway in. Then jump out onto the platform above, wait for the spikes to go down again, now jump on top of the spikes and run across to the other end of the room. And here we're going to find the base sword that we're going to use to transform into the Sword of Darkness and the Sword of Light. Now, before we head to the second altar, there's a couple of things we're going to need first. The first thing is going to be the cookbook to make the Hefty furnace pots. This cookbook can be found just south from the Great Bridge North, so head down here to the Rundown Traveler's Rest, and you'll see 3 purple items on the ground. One is going to be the cookbook, and the other 2 beside it are going to be Visages. They're actually materials that we need to craft the Hefty furnace pot, so make sure you're picking those up as well. The second material we're going to need to craft these Hefty furnace pots are going to be Redflesh Mooshrooms. Now, these are really easy to find. You should have a bunch of these, but just in case you don't, head to the Pillar Path cross side of Grace, and from here, simply follow this pathway up a little bit to the north, and you'll come across a bunch, at least 3 or 4 of these at a time. If you need more, you can just rest at the side of Grace and then follow the pathway again, and pick up as many of these as you need. Also, to throw these Hefty pots in the DLC, you will need to grab some heavy cracked pots first. So you can find one of these really early on just by the Scorched Ruins. You want to head down to the south, and right here there's going to be a purple shiny on the ground. This is going to be a heavy cracked pot, which is what we need. Our next objective is going to be to head to the ruins of Unte. Now, to get there, we're going to be starting from the Shadowkeep main gate to make sure nobody gets lost, in case you haven't actually made it to the watering hole yet. This is a little bit of a long route. There is a shortcut, but I'm not going to take that just to make sure everyone can follow in case you don't have the shortcut either, though I am going to put it in a little bit fast forward just to not waste anybody's time more than we need to. Once you go down this ladder off the side of the bridge, there's going to be an illusionary wall right here. Unfortunately, I had already attacked the illusionary wall before recording this video, but it's right here. Just hit the wall and it'll disappear. Once you go through the illusionary wall, you're going to get in the coffin, and then this will take you down to the castle watering hole. Now that we're in the castle watering hole, we're going to be heading to the ruins of Unte. The altar is going to be found here in the ruins of Unte. However, before we can actually head into the altar, we're going to need to pick up the third and final materials to craft the Hefty furnace pots. For that, we're going to go to the right of these ruins, and here we're going to find a bunch of them. There's like 5, I think, in one shiny, and you only need 2 to actually craft these pots. So after that, let's head to the north area of the ruins of Unte and climb onto this small balcony. Now go into your crafting menu and craft a Hefty furnace pot. Now, assuming you have a heavy cracked pot, which we showed you the location of just a second ago, what you want to do is throw one of these Hefty furnace pots into the head of the furnace golem. This will make it stand up and it will unblock the way into the altar. The altar is actually going to be located just to the right of this small building, and hopefully if you're a little bit smarter than me, you won't get hit by the massive golem throwing fire at you behind you. And here you can turn the base sword into the Sword of Darkness, which, by the way, has a really cool weapon art, which I'll show you here just after showing you quickly the stats of the weapon. Now the location of the third and final outer to get the Sword of Light, what we're going to do is head through the Shadow Keep again, this time exiting through the west entrance and advancing through the ruins of Rao until we get to the Church of the Bud main entrance. If you are having a little bit of trouble getting to this side of Grace, I will leave a full guide in the description of how to get here in case you need that. So from the side of Grace, following the pathway we're seeing here in the gameplay, go down the first lift in the red room, and when you get to the bottom, be careful, there are a bunch more of these red insect enemies that have a really annoying long range attack. So dodge those as best as you can, and then head out onto the balcony. Once you're on the balcony, it looks like it's a dead end, but there's actually going to be an invisible bridge across to the other side. And once you get to the other side, you'll find the outer, and here you can change the sword into the Sword of Light, which also has a pretty cool weapon art. Anyway, that's all there is to it, guys. I hope you did find this video helpful. If you did, don't forget that thumbs up button, subscribe for more content coming very soon, and we'll see you next time.